Welcome to the top 5 signs that you're headed for cash flow troubles. My name is Peter Holgate, and I'm the CEO and founder of 123 Zippy. We found that in many years of consulting, backed up by decades of research, that the number one reason most businesses fail is that they head for cash flow troubles, don't see it coming, and then go out of business. We put together this short presentation to allow you to decide whether you might be heading for cash flow troubles or not. The first thing we noticed was that most small businesses that are heading for cash flow troubles or getting very close, worrying about paying their creditors or expenses on time. They find they're having to stretch their accounts receivable and their accounts payable in ways to try and fund their businesses. The second thing we noticed was that most of these small businesses don't know how fast they can actually afford to grow. And that's very simple. How fast can you afford to grow? If you don't know what your self-sustainable growth rate is, then we'd like you to consider that you might be heading into trouble by growing too fast. And yes, that could be a reason why your banker does not want to give you any money, because he is very worried that you're growing too fast as well. What are you using for your financial information? We find that businesses that focus on getting their income statement or maybe even their balance sheet from their accounting software are likely headed for serious trouble. That's because their focus is in completely the wrong place. Their focus must be on cash, and instead is still relying on traditional accounting methods of income statements, profit and loss statements, managerial forecasts, instead of focusing on cash. Next up, we notice that businesses that don't use metrics, particularly metrics that they need to track their cash, are the most likely ones heading for trouble. I think we'd all agree that cash is the most important thing in a business. So what metrics are you using to track this? For example, do you know how much it costs you to acquire a new customer? Do you know how much it costs you to finance your business? Are you properly leveraged? Where's your next bit of cash coming from? And lastly, we notice that businesses that are heading for cash flow troubles are not friends with their accountant. If your accountant is your best friend, what should he be doing for you? He should not be telling you to update your balance sheet and produce an indirect cash flow statement filled with accounting terms like funds from operations, funds from investing, funds from financing activities. These are nothing more than accounting terminologies that don't really relate to what you as a small business owner need to know. So what would we like to do differently? Well, in 123 Zippy, we'd like to see a perfect world for cash flow management that would give you very clear financial statements that would allow you to know exactly how your business was doing that linked up with your bank account. It's no good having an income statement that shows wonderful progress while you run out of money. We'd like to know that you've had the time to plan for an extension on your line of credit or put funds aside so that you could pay your creditors, your accounts payable, and your expenses exactly when they needed to be paid. We'd like you to be able to go to your bankers and have a forecast that said, in 6 months, this is how much money I would need if I keep growing at the same rate. We'd like you to have a dashboard that gives you a clear indication of how fast you should be able to grow, where you should be able to put your money. Should you spend more on acquiring customers? Should you put more into the funds for delivering services? Should you spend more on developing your products? We would like you to have clear trends available. Are you gradually spending more and more to acquire customers? And lastly, we'd like you to know how much money you should be able to keep aside so that your assets don't deplete and you find you've got an economic value add problem. Knowing how much money to keep aside to reinvest for growth is critical if you're in a successful business. Our Zippy formula is quite simple. We call it 123 Zippy because there are 3 levels to Zippy. Level 1 is knowing how well your cash position is doing. Are you bringing in cash this month or did cash go out? And why? Level 2 gives you the forecast. What are your needs likely to be in the future? We use sophisticated algorithms that make your life easy. We tell you where you're likely to be if things carry on as they are. And with level 3, we call it managing, your cash flow gets managed with hard data, numbers that count. The numbers on your bank account matter. We like to give you these and give you some metrics to track your progress. For those of you who'd like to find out more about what 123Zippy can do for you, you can either visit us on the website at www.123zippy.com. You can read our articles on the blog, which we update about once a week, or you can contact one of our cash flow evangelists to arrange a no-obligation appointment where we can sit down with you and discuss what we could possibly do for your cash flow needs. Thank you for listening and watching this show.